It's the Riot Podcast. This is the Monday, December 18th edition. Today in the show, we give our singles out there the 3 possibilities of a little Christmas fling they might find themselves in.
We also talk about why some people are suffering from major anxiety when it comes to ordering at a restaurant.
We finally find out what hooning is, and I'm curious to see if we have any hooners in the audience. Have you ever hooned? Let us know. 8772 RadioU.
And then we talk about the fastest robot of all time, and it's still much slower than humans.
Yeah. Good show today. As always, enjoy, and we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The worst of the riot. Radio U.
We've got a new robot that set the world record for the fastest robot. The fastest robot as far as walking anyways. Would you like to care to guess that they did this by 100-meter dash? How fast a robot was able to knock out a 100-meter dash? What would you consider fast?
I mean, if it was going like 30 miles per hour, it's a robot, so I assume pretty fast. It's faster than any human can run.
You might assume that, right? It was nowhere near 30 miles an hour. Average speed 11.26 miles an hour.
What?
You heard me.
11?
Uh-huh. This is in South Korea. Their robot dog, they call it Hound, which I'm sure is short for something stupid, that just set the Guinness World Record, the fastest 100 meters run by a quadrupedal robot.
You just feel as if they could make it faster. It's a robot.
I don't know. It's a hard technology to master to get the 4 legs working together.
I
right?
guess so.
So it ran.
It's not very fluid.
No. Yeah, that's difficult. It's, it doesn't happen by accident. It took it nearly 20 seconds to run a 100-meter dash, which is average speed of 11.26 miles an hour. For reference, the average human could probably run this 100-meter dash in, if it was somebody 20 to 29 years old, 12 seconds, and that's average. Or I should say. The fastest is about 12 seconds, but the fastest for a 70-year-old, 17 seconds. So even the fastest 70-year-old could outrun this robot dog. And it looks like, 19 seconds is not all that far off from the average human running a 100-yard dash.
You would just think that by now, if we're going to be doing all this robot stuff, it'd be a little bit farther along. But at the same time, it's a new world record. Should we be celebrating this?
Should we be celebrating? I don't know. I guess a lot of people would hear new fastest robot and they would be fearful, perhaps. So I guess maybe we should celebrate that. Yeah, there's nothing to be afraid of.
They're so far behind us.
Yeah, we could, walking at a brisk pace, still get away from this thing.
Yeah, I would say for everybody who's hyped up on the robots, we still have a good ways to go.
Yeah. Who do you think is driving the ball more? Roboticists or NASA?
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. I don't know.
Which one is more disappointing to you right now?
I feel as if maybe NASA. I still lean NASA. Because at least robots, there's always a robot story every week. Robots are doing something.
Yeah. And NASA can't even accomplish the same thing that they accomplished
70 years ago?
Yeah.
40 years ago?
But yes.
Nobody does it better. The Riot Radio U.
Have you ever heard of hooning?
I have not.
I feel like it feels like a bad word, doesn't it?
Sounds kind of weird.
You say it.
Swooning.
No, hooning.
Oh, sorry. Hooning.
Yeah.
I've heard of swooning.
Yeah, of course you have. It happens all the time. Hooning is a big problem, apparently, particularly in Ohio, where lawmakers are trying to cut back on hooning. What is hooning, you may ask? For some reason, hooning is another word for people that will go ahead, usually I would say at night, and get in their cars, start doing like donuts, burnouts, things of that nature in the middle of intersections, in the middle of streets. They're hanging out the windows while they're doing this. And for some reason, that's called hooning. And apparently in Ohio, particularly, it looks like Dayton having a big issue with hooning. And so they're trying to find ways in the in the government to crack down on the practice of hooning.
Why don't you just pull them over, right?
Yeah, but I guess the penalties apparently are not strict enough, is what it sounds like.
Oh, it sounds like a dangerous action. It should be dangerous driving.
Yeah.
But maybe these people don't care. Do they not care?
It seems like they don't care. It seems like because it's fun and they're like showing off. And so
they think it's cool.
If they get nailed with like a little bit of a fine or something like that,
it's worth
not.
it.
Yeah, right. And then it shows they have money too. It's like, hey, fine. What do I care? I've got this cool car. I can do burnouts in it, and I've got money to spend on a fine.
See, these are the kind of people I just don't understand because this isn't really doing anything for me. This isn't cool. If I saw you doing this, I wouldn't be like, oh man, this dude, he's tough. He's cool. I would be like, this guy's an idiot.
If I invited you out to, hey, Isaiah, you want to go hooning with me?
Oh my gosh.
Would you like to go hoon tonight?
I would assume that we're doing like some sort of late night fishing or something.
It does kind of sound like a fishing thing.
If we were doing like hooning, I'm like, what did we catch?
Yeah, or some kind of like new kind of term for drugs.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
It's not. It's still a crime, but the crime is doing burnouts in the middle of the street, not even in like parking lots. That's one thing.
Oh, at intersections.
Yeah, in intersections, and it's loud and boisterous, bothering people, and obviously dangerous because it's you're holding up traffic.
They're like hanging out of the car.
Yeah,
there's like multiple people standing in the middle of the intersection. They're like taping a music video.
It seems
There's
like
smoke everywhere.
And they say that part of this trend is driven by YouTube. It does seem like a thing. Like I wouldn't be super pumped to go hooning with other people. If somebody was like, hey, let's go do burnouts, I don't think I would really be psyched about it. But if you saw it on YouTube, you might be like, hey, that's kind of cool because you're not in the moment of like, wow, we're clogging up the street. We're doing, people are probably annoyed with us. You're just seeing it online. It looks cool.
Like if you were walking down the street and you saw people doing this, you wouldn't be like, whoa, that's sick.
Yeah, you wouldn't be impressed.
You'd be like, somebody arrest them.
Yeah. But if you see it, I guess you see somebody doing this on TikTok or YouTube, it's got to be good for views, right?
Start thumbs downing those videos.
Yeah.
Get them out of here.
Uh-huh.
This is Radio U's Worst of the Riot.
Text in if this is you, 8772 Radio U. I want to try to understand this. You have menu anxiety when you go out to a restaurant. I've heard of this where you get just very nervous, overwhelmed by sitting down at a restaurant, seeing all the options and having to order for yourself. Apparently, 86% of people under the age of 24 say they've experienced menu anxiety. So just about everybody.
That's a high amount.
That's a high amount. 86% under 24, 67% of people overall, 2/3 of people have experienced menu anxiety. But here, get this. This is what's crazy. This is what I want to understand. That 1 out of 3 people under the age of 24 has been so anxious that they've asked other people to order for them.
No chance.
1 out of 3.
Who's ordering for you? Your boyfriend, your girlfriend,
Apparently.
your mom, your dad? That would be weird. Would that not be awkward?
To me, let's say we were out at a Radio U staff lunch. I would be much more nervous to ask you to order for me than
That
to
sounds
just order
crazy.
for myself. Yeah.
What is the server
But
going to think?
I don't think I suffer from menu anxiety. So,
But think about this, though. If you're the server and I come over and I'm like,
yeah.
you guys ready to order?
Uh-huh.
And you guys like, yes, we are. And then he looks right at me and he goes, what would you like? And then you leaned over from across the table and you were like, he's actually going to have the chicken tenders. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to sit there and like smile.
Give a thumbs up.
Look at him.
I actually, you know what? You'd probably be so anxious. You'd you real sheepishly, like, just give like a nod. Like, yeah, that's what
a
I
slight
want.
smirk.
He's
It kind
right.
of sounds like when one of your friends goes over to a girl and says, like, see my buddy over there? And then you're like waving. You're like, he thinks you're cute. That is what that gives me. The same vibes.
Yeah. It's hard for me to put myself in these shoes. Menu anxiety, I suppose I understand a little bit. I don't know. It's a lot to decide, and then you don't want to get the wrong thing that you're not gonna like. To me, I combat that by looking at the menu ahead of time.
Jessica says, I'm 35 years old. This happens to me regularly. My husband orders when I can't, but it has caused panic attacks before.
Wow. It is I guess it's one of those things like, I mean, I think Jessica would probably say this, right? Clearly irrational.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think is going to happen?
But at the same time, she has no control over it.
Yeah.
I think if there's two people, way easier to do.
Uh-huh.
Because he looks at me, he says, what would you guys like?
Yeah.
And then if I just do 2 orders in a row, right?
Yeah.
If I said, I'm going to do the smokehouse barbecue burger, and she's going to do chicken tenders. Boom, bang, bing.
Yeah.
It's over. But
fairly normal.
If it's a group, I feel like it could be harder.
Yeah, because they go around and they look and sometimes they like point with the pen at each individual. And then, yeah, if they point at you and you're like, pass to, somebody else.
Then it's harder. But if it's just the 2 of you out, I feel like it's not that hard.
You think about this too. This is the type of behavior that, like, Jessica's a gal. She can get away with it. Her husband will order for her. If you or I, like, as a man, tried to pass this off.
As a man.
Yeah, we tried to, like, if I had to get my wife to order for me every time we went out, that would, I'd feel like, I don't know, maybe that is. You play it out. Like, what is the waiter or waitress really going to do? What are they going to give you worse service?
This is even wilder. She texted in. She said it happens when she's trying to order for herself more than for her children. Because, like, when she's trying to decide, so she can order for her kids, but she can't order for herself.
She can power through.
Yes.
Well, she also, like, what does she care if the waiter judges what her kids are eating?
True.
Mac and cheese. But if she orders that herself, I don't know. He might raise an eyebrow.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, Jessica, you're not alone. Look to your right, to your left. One of those people also probably has somebody else order for them.
And the best thing is if we go out together, me and Hudson will order for you.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
We'll volunteer. Doesn't bother us at all.
Oh, hi there.
This worst of the riot.
Crank that up.
Radio U.
And we've hit that time of year where if you're single, you probably accepted for Christmas, it's going to stay that way, right?
You'd have to think so.
Wrong. I have here from a dating expert 3 possible scenarios of a little holiday fling that you could find yourself in.
The buzzer beater.
Yes,
the
that's
last
right. The
second
buzzer
call.
beater. I don't know if they're going to bring this person that you may find yourself entangled with to family Christmas, but there is still opportunities for things to blossom here in as we head into the holidays that are uniquely Christmassy ways to get involved with somebody. You ready for these?
I can't wait.
Number 1. This one's getting very late in the game for this one, but the Christmas party crush. Maybe you have an office Christmas party or some other Christmas party that you're attending, and it just so happens somebody else there. Like, that could be a great place to mingle with someone else who happens to be single because you're both kind of there. You don't have your +1. What are the chances are your paths cross? Maybe things work out a little bit.
The Christmas party.
Yeah.
Shoot your shot.
That's right.
Are we looking at the work Christmas party or your friend Christmas party?
I think any.
Oh, you're going either.
Where you may interact with other singles. I guess the office one particularly.
That's an HR violation if you ask me.
It could be, but what are Christmas parties for?
But I mean, we have a week left. We
That's
gotta
right.
take the risk.
And what
This
are
is
they
where
gonna?
we're at now.
They're not going to call you into a meeting on December 24th. Well, I guess that's Christmas Eve. They're not going to call you into a meeting on the
You're
last
right.
day before Christmas.
You're probably off all next week anyway.
Yeah,
and
so
then
that'll give
it's
time
the
to
new
simmer
year.
down.
People forget.
Yeah, so if you want to kiss under the mistletoe with somebody from the office party, go for it.
Everyone will forget by January 5th.
That's right. Even the person you kiss, possibly. Number 2, this is a big one that this is going to be this week and next week. are are huge time for hometown throwbacks.
Dangerous.
If you moved out of town, you've been away at college or something like that, now you come back to mom and dad's house, and that person from high school never quite worked out with, but maybe you happen to cross paths with them, or maybe this is a time where you reach out to them because it's like, oh, hey, I happen to be back in town. Didn't know if you wanted to do something. This is prime time for that. It may not be a long-term thing because after the holidays, you go back your separate ways. But for now, it's at least something cute to keep you occupied.
That's a Ryan Reynolds Christmas movie.
Which one is that?
Just Friends.
That's right. I saw why did that come into my frame of reference the other day? I don't know. I saw that and I was like, I should watch that.
You come back to your hometown. Maybe you're feeling like a hot shot all of a sudden. Go hit up your old crush. She never gave you a chance. How about now?
Mm-hmm. And the last one, this is the one that's most familiar to me. This also kind of revolves around heading back to your parents' house. The Christmas textationship.
What's going on there?
Where you're not actually hanging out with somebody, but it's somebody that all of a sudden, with the holidays, you're in different surroundings, and you find yourself also, you're not working. Like, you got a lot more time in your hands, a lot more time to text that person that you kind of chatted with a little bit, and you just get into like serious texting, like you guys constant. I've been through a Christmas or two where this was the case.
Oh, some serious texting.
Just a lot of texting. You're just a lot of conversations going on because you just got a lot of downtime. And that can accelerate the relationship into the new year. For when you head back to your normal surroundings, and then you have a decision to make. Was this texting situation real? Do we start exploring things, or were we just bored?
Well, it's a last-second call here. We're looking for the buzzer beater. About a week left.
Yep.
Before Christmas arrives.
Which one will you, if you're single, find yourself in? The Christmas textationship, the Christmas party crush, or the hometown throwback?
Is anybody able to muster up a relationship in the last 7 days before Christmas?
Radio U's Worst of the Riot podcast.
I saw a quote, just a little phrase that I really loved over the weekend, and that is, don't make a comment, make a difference. Does that feel like it speaks to anybody else the way that it speaks to me?
What's it saying to you?
And what it's saying is that, for many of us, you think if you polled somebody and asked, like, what are your strongest convictions? What is the stuff you see going on in the news or whatever that riles you up the most? And then you asked a follow-up to that. Okay, what have you done about it? Most people, probably the most they would say is, I've commented online, especially people like big Facebook people. They're going to be like, I post about it on Facebook. But that's, for most people, I would say, probably the beginning and end of it.
The extent that they go to.
Yeah. But I mean, let's think about it. When you're commenting online, when you're posting whatever it is, do you think you're actually making a difference? I don't think it never makes a difference. But I think by and large, if that's the extent, the farthest reaches you're willing to go to actually to actually try to make a change for something you care about, it's probably not, because how many times have you had your mind changed by a comment online? We all know the truth that answer is probably pretty close to zero. The comments might make you feel better, but if you actually care about whatever it is that you supposedly care about, then you got to do more than just make a comment. And in fact, I think a lot of time the comment, like depending on what you're saying on there, it could be more harmful than beneficial.
Oh, the boomerang effect, pushing them farther away.
That's right. I love that. The boomerang effect. Yeah, where just the fact that you come in there all on your high horse, like, how can you think this when it's actually this? And that just because of your tone with it and the way that people are reading it, because we all like read other people's comments in the most angriest way possible, you're probably pushing people further away from whatever your idea is of what is the right thing. So don't make a comment, make a difference. Think about what things that you can do that can actually push the ball forward, make a meaningful difference. Now, part of the reason I think a lot of us don't do that is because it feels like that feels so impossible. You're just one person. How can you actually make a difference? Well, when it's something really important, one, I think there's other people that you'll be able to find if you start looking that are also putting in the work, because there are people out there for whatever, any cause. There's people out there putting in the work. I always admire those people that like dedicate their lives to a cause. There's people out there, and you don't have to dedicate your whole life to it, but chip in a little bit. And when you have a relationship with Jesus, that's an important part of it too, because Jesus, one of the things he will do for you is move you to action, where you talk stuff out with him. You're like, hey, this is really bothering me. Here's something going on. I don't like seeing it. I want something to change. Jesus is going to move you and push you in the direction of ways that you can actually change. And then you've got God on your side, so he's going to help as well. If you want to know more about that, first of all, start talking to God. Air out, make your comments to him of, I can't believe this is happening. I wish I could change this. Start airing that out with him and see where he leads you. See where he takes you. You want to know more? Check out RadioU.com/free gift.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
In the NFL, I don't think we have any college football bowl headlines, do we?
No.
Isaiah, outside of let's be objective about this. Outside of the Browns, what is your top football headline from the weekend?
I mean, for me, it has to be the Buffalo Bills rolling over the Cowboys.
Yeah, they housed them.
Many people left the Bills for dead weeks ago. Thinking their season was over. Josh Allen and Buffalo have made that not quite the case, as they are now playing for a playoff berth and a team that I don't think anyone would want to see right about now in December.
Yeah, I really like the way the Bills are playing. I felt very vindicated, too, with the Bills not only beating the Cowboys, but stomping them. I said last week, to you at least, the last week was the Cowboys' peak. That was their Super Bowl. Everything was setting up for them to beat the Eagles. They were coming off a long week. The Eagles had been through a battering ram of good opponents. The Cowboys had extra time off at home. Everything was setting up for them to win that game and look good doing it. And then this week, they come falling right back down to earth. Dak Prescott did not look MVP level at all. So I think it was the Cowboys getting stomped, not being able to stop the run whatsoever against the Bills. They seem to be in a little bit of trouble.
Oh, the Cowboys?
Yeah,
they're not in trouble.
Just as I suspected.
They're a lock for the playoffs. They'll be just fine.
But they just went from, we could get the 1 seed to you're going to be the 5 seed and you're going to have to go, you may not get a home game the entire playoffs no matter how many games you win. That's trouble for those guys.
Yeah, but in the first round, they're going to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or Saints or Falcons. Whoever comes out of the NFC South, the Cowboys are still looking good, but I think this says more about people should be worried about the Bills in the AFC, because if they're your wild card matchup, you are going to be in trouble.
Yeah, that's for sure. Another headline from the weekend would be a little less on the field, a little more up in the family suite, and that is Taylor Swift. People are saying she became a real football fan over the weekend. I don't know if you saw the highlight of her. It was after Travis Kelce, a seemingly possibly missed pass interference call in the end zone against the Patriots, where he falls to the ground, and then the camera flashes to Taylor Swift up in the suite, and she's clearly yelling an expletive because
Taylor.
Yeah, I know, dirty mouth, sailor's mouth on that one. And so people are saying, like, now if she's shouting at the refs, cursing because they're missing calls, that like she's not just cheering for Travis. She's like a real football fan now. That's what you or I would do. Well, we wouldn't curse, of course.
Not much of a yeller at the refs.
But no, come on.
What are you talking about?
You get upset at the refs.
I would never. I was a gentleman in Cleveland this past Sunday. Golf claps Taylor for me. Swift, just golf claps.
Just becoming even more relatable as she, like so many of us, can't control her emotions when it comes to her team, at least her man.
Other headlines: Bengals still in it, even without Joe Burrow winning in overtime against the Vikings. The Lions bounce back to beat the Broncos. Colts get a big win to stay alive in the AFC South against the Steelers. The Dolphins roll over the Jets. New York season is not looking good. And then the 49ers roll. Might be the best team after crushing the Cardinals. So big weekend in NFL last night. Ravens blew out the Jags as well.
Yeah, I didn't stay for that one. What do you think the odds are? This is my last question. By the way, TJ says Travis Flopsy.
It was a flop. I agree.
He's good at that, but where are you getting your puns from? Nene?
I like that one.
He's routine. My last question is, what do you think the odds are that a backup quarterback wins the Super Bowl at this point? And if Brock Purdy does it, does that count?
It's not Brock Purdy. It's Joe Flacco, baby. Don says, how about them Brownies? Amazing game. I mean, I could listen to this all Monday morning after games like that. Another win. 9-5.
Who do the Browns play this week?
We got the Houston Texans.
Oh, I'm a big Texans fan. All of a
Joe
sudden.
Flacco and the boys.
Just so I don't have to listen to this.
The fourth stringer coming in. Another win. I cannot wait.
Wasn't that a great Riot clip? While you're here, you should watch more of our videos and subscribe so you don't miss what we do next.